It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
You know, trick-taking games can be a very love it or leave it sort of genre. Some people absolutely adore a good trick-taking game, and some people just, as soon as you say trick-taking, they don't really care anymore. I tend to enjoy trick-taking games. Today we're going to take a look at another one called Nyet. This is a brand new printing from Yellow of a game that's been published before in several forms, the latest of which I'm aware in this collection here as one of the games included in this set. And so here we have the game standalone, a brand new production, brand new artwork, and what do I think of it? Like I said, I like trick-taking games. This is one of the good ones. Let me show you how the game works, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Here's what the game looks like set up for 4 players. The game comes with a deck of 60 cards, which I've divvied out here evenly to all the players. And they come in 4 suits here, green, yellow, blue, and red, as you can see. And they go up to 13. And so each player has been given 15 cards. You do remove some with fewer players. And each player is given one of these character cards. And the one that is missing is here. And I've covered up that character here on this board with one of these tokens so that we know they're not playing. The game is going to be played over several rounds, several hands, and that's going to depend on the number of players. And each hand goes like this. It first has a Nyet phase here, and then we actually play out the cards and take tricks and score points and so on. The starting player is going to take one of their tokens and they're going to place it on one of these spaces here on this board to cover up that space and make sure that that space they're covering up is not the option at the end of the game. And so through process of elimination in this phase, we are going to be picking the first player, how many cards are discarded, if any, the trump suit, a super trump card, or possibly none, and how many points each trick is going to be worth, possibly negative points. At the beginning of this first phase, the dealer is going to start, and they're going to take a look at their hand and decide they really don't have very many green cards, and so they're going to take one of their tokens here and cover up green on the trump track to make sure that green is not trump. The next player will look at their hand. They will notice that they have a lot of small cards, not a lot of strong value, and so they're going to say that they would rather the tricks not be worth 4 victory points because they're thinking they will not take very many, and so they're going to cover that up. And that will work all the way around the table. This player thinks, ooh, they got a good hand, they don't want the tricks to be negative. The next player will play, and they want to make sure that yellow ones are not the super trump, and I'll talk about what the super trumps are in just a minute. And this will continue around the table with each player playing a token. Somewhere up here on the discard is again how many cards you'll discard. 1 card, 2, 1 card except any ones, and I'll tell you why, no ones. 1 card you pass left, discard none, and this is no change whatsoever. And so they don't want to pass any cards. And again, this continues all the way around until there is only 1 thing left in each column. And this is just going to go like that. This player is going to play there. And once a track has a single choice left, by the way, for example, here the only thing left in the trump track is yellow, then the trump has to be yellow. That one will not be covered up. And this player is going to play here, make sure that they're the start player, and this player is going to cover up that. And that's it. And so what we've got here is first player will be this player here. The discard rule for the round before we start playing cards is going to be everyone discards 2 cards. The trump is yellow. The super trump is the red ones. And every trick taken will be worth 2 victory points. So let me show you the second phase, which is the trick phase, actually playing out the cards. So now the first thing that happens is the start player, which in this case, as I said, is this character here, is going to pick who their partner is. They can pick any other player to be their partner. They're going to pick this player here. If you are playing with an odd number of players, then this card comes into play, and you as a star player, let's say we're playing with three players of the table, you can choose to be on the single player team, or you can pick a partner and have the third player play alone. Whoever's playing alone gets this card, this ×2 card, and that means that every trick they take in the game counts as 2 tricks to even them out. So that's the first thing. Star player picks a partner. They are going to be playing together, scoring the same number of points. Second thing, the discard rule. In this case, everyone discards 2 cards. So they're going to look at this hand here, and they are going to discard any 2 cards they want to. They're going to short suit themselves in green, let's say. So they'll discard these 2 cards here out of the game. Everyone will do that. Next thing, well, trump, and then the super trump are the red ones, and each trick is worth 2 victory points. The star player will start the game. I can play any card I want to start, and then everyone must follow suit if they can. So this player will take a look at their hand. They have a red 1, a 7, and another 1. This deck has 3 1s in every color, and then every other number shows up once. And so the weakest card in this player's hand is the 1, which normally they would throw away. However, in this game, ones captured from the opponents are worth an extra trick in and of themselves. And so if I capture a 1 from this player and I win the trick, that's like having taken 2 tricks this hand. Also, of course, in this case, these red ones count as part of the trump suit, which is yellow, and they are better than every other yellow card. They're the super trumps. And so they're not really, they don't count as red, basically. And so they'll do that. Then this player, who is my partner, will look at their hand. They have a single red card. They'll play that. And then this player here will play that. I've won this trick. I take it. I put it aside. I know at the end of the game for that I'll score 2 victory points. And I play another card from my hand. And this is basically how the game plays out. We're going to play out all the cards, and at the end of that, score up points. I'll get the same number of points as my partner because we'll combine how many tricks we took, each one in this case being worth 2 victory points. Once that's done, then we are going to wipe the board clean here. We're going to shuffle up, deal out the cards again, and once again go through this Nyet phase and play another round. We're going to play a certain number of rounds depending on the number of players so that everybody has an even number of turns. And at the end of the game, the player with the highest score is the winner. A single player will be the winner even though you have changing teams throughout the game. And so that's another thing to watch out for. You don't necessarily, if you think you're going to do quite well, want to team up with someone who is already doing better than you. And that's pretty much the game. Go through the Nyet phase here, the trick-taking phase, have the most points at the end of the game, and you're the winner. The first thing I want to talk about is the production of this game. Like I said, it's a game that's been out before. So what does this production of the game bring to the table? Well, first of all, it's got one of those magnetic clasp boxes, which I think are really neat and work really well. The artwork in it is pretty spectacular. The board, the tokens, all those are nice. The game even comes with these postcards, which they're just regular postcards, but they have the artwork as seen on the characters in the game, and they're really, really very attractive. The card stock itself, I think, is a little thin. I do wish it was a little better, maybe even linen finish, but it's not. However, I have not seen any wear on the game, so I have not truly had a problem with it. And it's just me nitpicking at wishing that the cards were just a little bit thicker, but ultimately not a big issue. The game itself has a lot of things in it to like. I like the idea of this sort of, picking things by elimination idea of the first phase of the game, which works very well, and it really has a great feel to it. It makes for a wonderful cadence at the beginning of the game. And then when you get to the trick-taking itself, that flows very quickly and easily, and there's not a lot of weird steps to trip you up in that part of the game, which I really like. I like that the game choices and sort of the twists in the game here happens first, and then you play some cards. And I'm a big fan of that. I will say I've played this game before, as you might have figured out from me having this around, and I'll say right now, this game is in my top 5 trick-taking games of all time. I absolutely love it. I think it plays well with just about anybody. I would go as far as to say if you have tried trick-taking games before and have not liked them, check this one out, because I think that setup is going to do away with any issues you might have had with trick-taking games before. And I know what they could be. The weird bidding, none of that here. Weird card play rules, none of that. I mean, the hardest thing you're going to have to struggle with here is the fact that one kind of card will super trump the other cards in that trump color. But that's it. I mean, the game really is a clean design. The game says on the box here that it is 30 minutes. That's a little short, really. The game you're going to be playing for about 45, but it's not so bad for this kind of card game. And the more you play, and the more you know where you want to, what choices you want to eliminate on that board, then the faster you will go. I think 30 minutes is perhaps pushing it a little bit, but the game is still a fairly quick endeavor. I like the different number of players. It scales well. That ×2 card is really neat, and it's going to make for a game that really does feel different with, say, 3 players and 4. Do you want to play alone if you're the start player? Do you think you're really going to just mess everybody over, and so you take that ×2, play alone, give yourself a big old score this round? What happens when it's the -2 that is left revealed, and that's how much each trick is worth? You don't want to win tricks. So who do you make your partner that round? It's got to be somebody who's going to not win tricks. And so again, lots of considerations in this game. I absolutely adore it and can't recommend it highly enough. Check this one out, folks. Nyet, an awesome trick-taking game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.